Hey there my friends, Kevin Steinman here coming at you with episode 3 of Crypto Daily News. The day is July 3rd, one day before the 4th of July, so happy early Independence Day. I just want to touch on a few things happening in the news today. There is actually some shade that is being thrown at Kraken from none other than Bloomberg because they are saying that the USDT from Tether is somehow able to be manipulated. And as I read the article and as I had read the article already, it's really interesting to me that they could go and say that this is a red flag if Kraken and any other exchange for that matter is not keeping the same one-to-one dollar per crypto ratio available based on the conversion rate. Because if you think about it, banks themselves are able to go out and lend 9 times more money than they have. So who is regulating them? I mean, how is it possible in today's society that if it's in fiat, banks can go and lend out 9 times more money than they actually have, but in its crypto, they're basically making a case that if it is not completely available at the time when people are exchanging their BTC to USDT, then it's something that they have a concern with. And I kind of look at it from the perspective of Kraken is the 16th largest cryptocurrency exchange. They process about $100 million every day in different types of buy-sell orders. And here we have Bloomberg, who is an older establishment, probably is not too familiar with the cryptocurrency space, and they are making claims that USDT, by comparison to measure against all the other altcoins and cryptocurrencies, is not reliable. But not just on Kraken. There have been other types of people saying these types of things about different exchanges as well. But again, whether that is the case or not is kind of irrelevant because of the reasons I just said with banks and current fiat currency and how the current system works. So that's an interesting thing to think about because again, it's not like the US dollar is backed by gold anymore. So what real value does it have other than the same value that cryptocurrency has presently, which is the faith that people give to the currency, as well as the markets of which the currencies are derived from and used. So that's one interesting thing that's happening in the market today. Another thing is that there's 5 more nations that want to beef up their tax enforcement and find more ways to prevent things that are illegal, of course, like money laundering, and like some things might be similar to what happened with Silk Road, where people were using Bitcoin to go and buy drugs and all these different types of things. I think for the most part, this is a well-intentioned effort, but at the same time, there was a quote from someone, I forget who it was, but basically it was about letting blockchain as a technology develop and allowing people to go and create new innovative products and services around the underlying technology, which we all know is the real value in what cryptocurrency is able to provide. But if all these regulations are hindering that growth, then there's certainly going to be some implications for the negative of what entrepreneurs and innovators may be able to do because of these tax regulations. But again, they are not so stringent that they're going to go and affect people that are currently working to build out blockchain apps and find new innovative ways to use cryptocurrency and blockchain. So that's another thing. The 5 nations that are going to be doing that with respect to the US and the 4 others are Australia, Canada, the Netherlands, and the UK. And again, it's just mainly to go and try and reduce the cybercrime that people are concerned about with, again, what happened with Silk Road. I completely understand. Another interesting thing that's happening today in the markets is IBM Power Blockchain just actually finished executing their first live major trades today with 5 major banks. These banks are Deutsche Bank, HSBC, KBC, Natixis, Nordea, Rabobank, Santander, Societe Generale, and UniCredit. They're obviously global and foreign banks to the US, but one thing to me that very much stands out is that this whole thing that has just occurred with IBM using the blockchain and cryptocurrency to actually make these transactions happen in such volume is the same exact reason of what Ripple was trying to do back last year. And so to me, I kind of look at this as like 2 different perspectives playing devil's advocate of one is it shows more validation to Ripple and what they're trying to do. 2 is because of the fact that IBM is behind it, Ripple may or should be concerned with the fact that they're essentially working to do the same things and target different institutions like banks and hedge funds, for instance, that move this kind of money. So the fourth thing I want to talk about is just, again, more on the regulation side. The Japanese Financial Services Agency, FSA, is currently making changes to their regulations as well. And so essentially what is happening right now is that cryptocurrency is legally positioned as the same means of payment with electronic money. And so of course that means that if you have $100 in fiat currency, whether it's in the actual yen or the US dollar amount, whatever it is, it's the same thing as having it in cryptocurrency and transacting it that way. However, should this change go through, what they will start doing is regulating the exchanges under the FEIA, and crypto will instead be treated as a financial product. So again, this is in an effort to help prevent customers from getting scammed, similar to what happened with the NEM hack with CoinCheck, where 523 million accounts were affected. I mean, that's obviously a large number of people who were affected, and if they lost their Bitcoin or their money, that's not cool. If you're the person who did it, that's especially not cool. You know what? You should just go and jump out this window right here, but I think you might enjoy the way down, so I'm not even gonna give you that pleasure. It's messed up. Anyway, back to the last point. What I was gonna say is that another cool announcement, and this may be my most, the one that I'm most interested in right now, is the fact that a Russian firm, Black Moon, has offered to tokenize Xiaomi's IPO that's coming up. And if you don't know who that is, I don't know if I'm even pronouncing their name right, but Xiaomi is the 4th largest smartphone maker in the world. And they are currently based out of China. They produce a crap load of smartphones, right up there with Samsung and Apple. And if you think about Chinese population growth and demand for consumer electronics such as smartphones, then obviously this is a pretty big deal. And another company who was doing this recently in the US was actually Android Capital, who has access to go and tokenize their entire portfolio, which includes companies like Lyft and Slack and Zoom and half a dozen other companies, SpaceX. I mean, there is some really exciting things happening in the financial markets right now, but it's only as exciting as you're able to take this information that I'm providing you and use it to go and either speculate, make some trades, buy and sell, hold, whatever you want to do. Think about the overall effect of all these different types of announcements that are happening. If you want a summary of what my opinion is, essentially, I think that change should be considered the norm in the crypto space, and that is because it is such a volatile market that is prone to such disruption that could happen any day, any week, even any hour, like at a moment's notice, that could largely affect the market. But if you're okay with actually doing things in a volatile market, then that shouldn't be an issue. So in any event, I hope you guys have enjoyed this brief update from Crypto Daily News.
Ridiculous, without even trying, how do they do it? This is 10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated